Hello and welcome to the third and final part of the finale of Backtracking as a show. And we move on with Dinosaur Jr.'s ninth album, Farm. Released in 2009, it is their first album through Jaguar and it was produced by Jay Mascis. So this time, Mascis producing it would be a bit more understandable considering that the album was recorded at his home, and the album would actually do well after it dropped too. It would land on, according to Wikipedia, just let me move the camera screen down a bit, number 29 in the Billboard 200, so it's their highest charting one. Really good work there. It's also... It's got a weird sort of like myth surrounding it. So on the original European release, there was a mastering error on the album where the volume was 3 decibels too loud, which might not sound like much, but decibels are actually a pretty sizable unit of measurement when it comes to sound, so 3 decibels too loud is very bloody loud when compared to the original sound. It says here, the European label PIS recordings record the affected copies to exchange them with the correct ones. So, I don't know how or why that oversight happened, but it's a very fascinating little thing, and I thought it was worth bringing up. As for the album itself, the band did say that it marks a return to their much heavier sort of stuff, and I can sort of hear it in some places. It is a bit more of a punk-leaning album, traditionally so. It's got sort of more of a hardcore vibe, but it does show the band's aging and maturity, but in like a really good way, ever since they returned. You know, it does show them being a bit more self-aware, I would say, with the lyrical tones. The album's just also produced really well and performed beautifully by all 3 members. Jay Mascis he's a man who knows what the hell he's doing, and structuring-wise it's also pretty good. It does keep to the heavier pacing for the most part, but it doesn't like sacrifice a lot of the time that the band had to grow, so I do appreciate that. My favourite song goes to Friends. Yes, I did just do that, and yeah, this album is really good. Again, builds up a lot of the heavier stuff that they'd done in the past, and in a more modern way, which I do like. And again, it does it without sacrificing the maturity and growth that they've had over the years. Next is the band's 10th album, I Bet on Sky, released in 2012. It came out through Jaguar and PIS, and it was again produced by Mascis. So interestingly, this album had been promoted in a unique way because one of these singles was released with a music video and promoted via an MP3, that song being Watch the Corners. The album also, finally, for once, we have something more to talk about, and yes, as you can tell, I am skimming through the Wikipedia shit. I just don't really care anymore by this point. But yeah, we actually have some touring to sort of talk about. They played on Jimmy Fallon as well, and yeah, no, okay. No, I thought there was touring stuff to really talk about, but there wasn't. My bad. They probably toured though. I mean, you know, it was 3 albums since their last album, so it does make sense. As for the album, again, really good. More of a slowed down pace. Still sort of keeps some of the heaviness of Farm, but like, again, done in a more modern day way. The lyrics do focus on sort of more of a political lean, but like not by much. There is still songs about friendship, and again, the band sort of like patching up the past and stuff like that. And yeah, again, produced solidly. Jay Mascis exactly knows what he's doing. It's also, again, structurally quite sound. It builds up a lot as it goes along, and it's got really good pacing to it. Again, I like the production, as I've mentioned. The band are just fantastic as well. I think this is some of Lou Barlow's best bass work personally too, but that's just me. My favourite song goes to What Was That, and at this point, you know, a long way into their career, even hitting the double digits in terms of albums, I quite enjoyed this one. It is, again, more mature and a little bit slowed down, but it still has some of the heavier stuff. Next is the band's 11th album, Give a Glimpse of What You're Not. Released in 2016, it was released through Jaguar, and it was produced by Jay Mascis once again. I don't have many interesting facts for this one. Maybe the band toured, I don't know. I couldn't find a whole lot about that, but it stands to reason considering it was 4 years since their last one. However, uniquely, the album does sound, in terms of its style, quite similar to their album Beyond. Like, there's more of a almost psychedelic sort of vibe to it, you know, more of a focus on the alt-rock part of it, and again, it just shows they're maturing, and I'm glad that they're able to do something like this, you know, to pick like sounds that they'd already dabbled with in the past and just decide, yeah, we're just going to add it to this album, add it, and just see how it goes, and for the most part it works well. The instruments sound very nice and deep, and chocolatey is a term I like to use sometimes. I don't know why. It's just fun. That's why. Yeah, really good lyrical content too, from what I understand. Just looking at the song names, because I didn't really do much of a deep dive. I would guess that the album's theme is just like fakeness, you know, or just basically being the best version of you that you can be. I don't know, I'm just guessing based on the album title. It is a really good album title, to be honest. Structurally, again, really nice. It is one of the longer ones. It is, I'm actually looking at it right now. It's over 46 minutes, but still crams in quite a lot. And, well, obviously it is, fairly long. It would stand to reason that it has a lot. It doesn't really restrain itself too much. And again, the band are just fantastic, produced really well. I have to give J Mascis all the credit in the world. And, yeah, just absolutely fantastic stuff from them. My favourite song goes to Knocked Around, and I think it's just pretty established by this point that this band is just really good at what they do. It is sort of the same ground that they've already trodden, but it's good ground, and it is, well, familiar. It doesn't mean it's bad, so I will take it where I can get it. And finally, and I do mean finally, for the last ever time, we reached the band's 12th and last album so far, Sweep It Into Space, released in 2021. It came out through the same label, and it was produced by J Mascis and Kurt Vile. So the band obviously wanted this album to come out about a year before it did, but that year before that this album came out would be 2020, so the pandemic delayed them, and having said that though, they were able to promote it with a solid tour last September. Let's see if I can find who they toured with. I accidentally clicked the record label and not the band name. Okay. I'm professional. No, it doesn't say they just toured in North America. It doesn't say with who, and it concluded in February of this year. So, that's kind of cool. The album is also the first in such a long time to feature another producer, this one being Kurt Vile, who actually did some audio engineering on a couple of tracks and even provided backing vocals. It's also an album, I almost said a song, it's an album with contributions from Lou Barlow as well. He actually wrote a couple of the songs, and there's about 12 on the album, and I think he wrote 2. Let me just make sure. I am correct. Hurrah for me. And Kurt Vile also played tall string guitar on the song I Ran Away. So, yeah, a very interesting bunch of stuff to talk about for this one, which I'm really glad about because it is the band's last ever album. Well, last one so far. They could still very well put out another one. But obviously, they wanted this one to come out sooner, and yeah, I'm glad that we got it at all. And the album itself is really good, Again, the guitar work is phenomenal. I do like that they added more weird elements for this one. I mean, they're this late into their career, so they just basically decided, fuck it, let's see what we can get away with. And I do like that mentality when a band has been around for this long. Even, as long as you ignore the breakup, it's still a mentality I do enjoy. And yeah, the band decided to go for broke on that front, There's more diverse lyrical themes, again, some stuff about religion, I think, stuff about relationships, and some ground that they really hadn't touched before. Performance-wise, still great and solid. Kurt Vile even does a pretty good job, feeling like a sort of a fourth member of the band. Production-wise, it's really good too. J Mascis actually working with another producer, I think, really helped to flesh out the album sound. And again, for a long album, how long is it? 44 minutes, almost 45. Yeah, just really good, doesn't really waste any of its time. My favourite song goes to, coincidentally, I Ran Away. And yeah, fantastic album, really great way to wrap up their career so far. But can't really think of much else to add to that because that's the last album I'm ever talking about for this series. So with that being said, that is it. That is the complete and total end of Backtracking. But I do have something special in mind to really send it off, and you'll see it, hopefully, next week. I won't tell you what it is, but I will say you're probably going to enjoy it. So, with that being said, that's the last backtracking-related thing ever done. Next thing you'll see me for won't be a stream tomorrow night, because I lost all my save data on WWE 2K22 yesterday, and I spent pretty much the entire day trying to build stuff back up. There's still some stuff I've got to do, but I managed to get myself in a pretty comfortable position. There's just some of the bits I need to take care of, like, really, really quickly. So, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try and get the show up by Wednesday night at the absolute latest, and it's going to be the Go Home show, so it's a really important one, because it's the Go Home show for Violent Delights and the Golden Path tournament, so that's going to be next week. But yeah, next thing you'll see me for will likely be on Wednesday, an Ultimate Fire episode review, and then possibly Wednesday night stream, the Go Home show. But that's it. That is the end of Backtracking once and for all. There'll be no more after this. And as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.